All right. Hey, everybody. This is Reed Schweizer with Estero Devleopments coming to you to talk a little bit about loan programs. I know that, right now interest rates are kind of, something that we're all a little bit concerned with. They've obviously gone up, considerably over the last couple of months. So all of us are thinking about cash flow. Is this a good time to buy? Is this not a good time to buy? I've got two awesome people with me today. I've got Shawn Huss with Warsaw Federal. He's a lender that we've started working with that's got some really interesting programs that I think you'll find interesting. And Tyler DiPretoro, our guy in North Carolina. Tyler does exactly what I do, but he does it in North Carolina. He works with the funds, with the individual investors, and helps us find land and does a great job for us. So I just want to start off by saying thanks for being here, guys.
Thanks for having me. I was looking forward to it.
Yeah. So Shawn, I'll start with you. Just very briefly, everybody would prefer a fixed rate. In a perfect world, we always get a fixed rate mortgage. And we used to like it when they were 2 and 3%. That was awesome. But those days are at least behind us for the present. Let's talk first about fixed rates with the programs that you have. If some investor were to walk in looking at a single family investment property right now, and they said, Shawn, I only want a fixed rate, what type of program would they be looking at?
I mean, pretty much on a 30-year fixed with assuming an excellent credit score in all these scenarios with 25% down. I mean, you're looking at rates with no points right around 7 1/4, 7 3/8. If you were to pay 2 points, which we're seeing a lot of investors pay points to help on ROI these days, you're looking at rates right around 6.6 range, and that would be on a 30-year fixed situation. Okay. And pretty much with rates going up so quickly from the beginning of the year to today, we have presented some different options with the ARM products, which was part of this conversation.
Okay. So if on a fixed, if you were to pay the 2 points, it saves you about a half a point-ish, in
yes,
that ballpark?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, cool. Well, now I'm going to ask you to break out your crystal ball and try to project something for me. Kind of the magic number. I've been doing investment real estate for roughly 20 years now, both with my own portfolio and working with investors. If you had a crystal ball and you had to try to project when we'd be back in the 5s for a fixed rate, what would you project?
I mean, for 5s for owner occupied, which is better interest rates than investment properties.
Of course.
So I don't know if we'll go back to the 5s. I mean, that'll be a pretty big drop. But I mean, the crystal ball, the experts are predicting probably end of the fourth quarter 2023, first quarter of 2024. We'll start seeing primary rates back in the mid 5s, which will put the investment properties back in the low 6s probably. So that's where the conversation of maybe getting into ARM pricing has come back to fruition, because basically the last 3 or 4 years, the difference between a 30-year fix and an ARM was only like a quarter. So it made no sense to use an ARM product. Now, with the bigger gap we're seeing with rates today of 0.5% to 1%, ARMs are a bigger part of the conversation, especially if you think the rates will come back down in the next 2 to 3 years. So I've been doing this for 29 years. So I have seen the cycles up, down. So this is probably the most aggressive I've seen the Fed raising rates in a short amount of period. So we shall see what happens towards the end of next year, 2023.
And I think something that's important to point out is historically where we're sitting right now, historically is not bad, really. Even at a fixed rate of 7 in an in an inflation environment that's 7 to 8, depending on if you believe those numbers or not, which I don't know. Really, when you're in a real estate climate that you still are seeing appreciation, there's been a lot of reports coming out that even though home sales have slowed just a bit, appreciation is still there. Now, will that be the same in 3 months, 6 months, 12 months? None of us can tell you that. Anybody who says they think that they know, I probably wouldn't believe them. But anyway, historically, we're still in a pretty good spot, just maybe not as good as we were 2 or 3 years ago. Is that fair to say?
Most definitely.
And
with inflation is usually higher rents too. So if you're under the impression that rates will come back down, the ROI might not be where you ideally want it today, but obviously when we get to refinance, then the ROI increases with the appreciation you're getting over the next few years.
Speaking of rents, I'll bring Tyler in here. Speaking of rents, Tyler, obviously you're in and around the Charlotte, North Carolina area. What are you seeing in terms of rental demand and rental pricing? Just give us like a quick overview of what you're seeing in the Charlotte market.
Yeah, I think the demand is still increasing. There's still a lot of demand for homes because right now a lot of these people, because of the interest rates going up, they've been priced out of buying a home. So what do they become? A renter. So that in turn is going to increase the amount people can demand for rent. So I'd see right now I'm seeing a lot of our product going for between 2,200 and 2,400, and it's getting rented out pretty quickly too.
Yeah. I mean, we're seeing the same thing in Florida. Rental demand continues to increase. Obviously, we had Ian a couple weeks back, about a month and a half now, but so rental demand was already really high, and it's only getting higher. I really thought in Florida we might see fewer snowbirds and fewer people like traveling to Florida, and we are going to see less just because there's going to be less properties available for them to rent, seasonally. Not to go on a tangent about seasonal rentals or this or that, but I can tell you the roads are packed. I'm seeing Ohio, Indiana, Michigan, Pennsylvania, Ontario. I'm seeing all the usual suspects. They're here. I don't know where they're staying right now because some of the seasonal rentals got beat up, no doubt about that. But they're still coming. They're coming hard. So really, the whole point of this, Shawn, was to talk about the ARM products you have, and I'm going to focus on the 7-year ARM product, knowing that you do have a 10-year ARM product as well. But same thing. We talked about earlier. If somebody walked in and they only want a fixed rate, obviously you would talk to them about the fixed rate. But if you were to give them an alternative to go to an ARM product, what would you tell an investor who walked into your office today?
I mean, I educate them first, because ARM products, a lot of people get scared when you hear the word ARMs. And that really came from 2008, 2009, when lenders were doing stated income loans, doing interest only loans. There's no equity in property. So ARMs had a bad name back in the early 2008, 2009, 2010. In today's world, though, it's completely different. I mean, the qualifications are more strict. You're seeing way more equity in the properties. And obviously, if you're putting 25% down, you're not going to get stuck with anything. You do have caps on how high your rate can go up or down at the end of the 7 or 10 years. So you do have some protection. But if you are following the experts and you are in the mindset that rates will be coming back down by 1.5%, hopefully in the next 12 to 18 months, take advantage of the lower interest rates to have a better ROI up front. And then when the rates drop, then we basically will put you into another fixed rate product or another ARM product in 12 to 18 months, which should put you in the ROI even at a stronger position.
Well, and that being said, I mean, we've all been around the block a couple of times, and from what I've seen in my career with people, how long they hold rental properties, 5, 7, maybe 10 years. Very few investors that I've ever worked with have just rode that whole 30 years out anyway. So this might be a time to kind of strike on something and improve your cash flow.
I agree. And you're probably looking with the ARM products, you're probably looking at rates like 0.625 to 0.875 cheaper than a 30-year fixed. So it does make up, sorry about that. It does make up a situation that you'll see a significant difference in payment when you were talking about price points of 330 to 400.
Right. Well, and that brings me to the next question. I wanted to throw a hypothetical out there. If you were to take our Florida properties and our North Carolina properties and you threw them all in a blender, it would average out to a sales price of roughly $380. So one of the questions, and just so everybody knows, I did pre-warn Shawn for only this one question, but what would, like, if somebody came in and said, hey, I've got this really great property, I really love it, it's in Charlotte, North Carolina, or it's in Port Charlotte, Florida, and the sales price is $380. I'm prepared to put 25% down. What would their payment look like? What would the deal look like?
I mean, pretty much if you're looking at 380, putting 25% down, and you are paying, let's just say you want to pay 2 points just to get the lowest rates.
Oh,
I
but
mean,
we're paying those. I forgot to say this at the beginning. Estero is paying those 2 points. So we are incentivizing and we are covering the cost of this buy down into an ARM program, just so everybody knows.
Correct, which is a big deal. So you're looking at with what you guys are contributing. If you used all the funds, you can buy the rate down to like 5.875. You're looking at payments right around 1680, 1690, and that's principal and interest only. Then obviously you're going to add whatever taxes and insurance are for the property you're identified.
Well, I don't know, about math too much. No, I actually do know about math a lot. But if you're looking 1680, 1690, with taxes and insurance, that adds like 400 to 500-ish in that ballpark. So your all in is going to be 21 to 2200. Rents in Florida on our staple products are 2600 a month. That puts us right back into a really nice positive cash flow position. Tyler, are you in a similar situation in North Carolina?
We are in a similar situation here, not quite as much, just a little bit less, I would say, probably about $150 to $200 a month in cash flow. But just like you in Florida, we are seeing some pretty solid appreciation, not as much as we've seen in 2021 because that year was crazy, but probably in the range of 5 to 8% appreciation per year as well.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's great. I mean, we're back into a situation where you can lock in a rate for 7 years in the fives, albeit the high fives, but you're back in a positive cash flow situation, which is kind of the magic thing for a lot of investors. I mean, none of us want to feed, property every month. I mean, I've done it before and it's worked out, but we don't want to be there. We'd rather have that property paying us, a little bit every month. So, well, I wanted to keep this video short. I don't think we accomplished that, but I'll wrap up by saying real quick, Shawn, if somebody wants to get a hold of you, how would they get a hold of you?
The best way is just go to my website. It's www.shawnhuss.com, and that's SHAWN HUS as in Sam, S as in Sam.com. That has my email, has my cell phone. Just you shoot me an email with any questions, give me a call. If you want to get pre-approved, pre-qualified, we can accomplish that through the same website. Awesome.
And Tyler, I know, you and I speak to a lot of the same people. Some people prefer Florida, some people prefer North Carolina. You have a bigger MSA than what we have. So there's some differences in our markets, which you and I always kind of work together and work through. But if, somebody wants to get a hold of you and, they're itching to buy something in Charlotte, North Carolina, how do they get a hold of you?
They can call me at 803-322-7037 or email me at tyler@brdevelop.com.
Awesome. And most of you who are seeing this already have my information, but if you want to get a hold of me, if you just are finding this on YouTube, my phone number is 239-229-5948. And the best email for me, because I'm technologically a little bit behind the times, is my Gmail account. So it's real simple. It's floridarealtorx@gmail.com. One of these days, my company email will work properly, and it's not their fault, it's mine. But anyway, thank you guys for your time. I really appreciate it. Shawn, thanks for the the insight on the market and where rates are at today and where we think or hope they may be going fairly soon. Thanks a lot, guys. I really appreciate it.
Thanks,
All right,
guys.
thank you guys.
right.
If I can help in the future, let me know.
You got it.